Hello and welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be doing another back to basics build with our driller, since we haven't done driller yet, and we're going to be taking the flamethrower and the Subata. Now I'm going to be going over the build that I use without any sort of overclocks for the flamethrower and for the Subata. I'm going to be taking this on a Has 5 mission, and we're going to see how this works out. So driller's got a really good starting weapon. The flamethrower, even though it is kind of basic, it is a really good weapon. It does good damage per second. It's great against crowds. It's great against anything that you can fight within the range of the flamethrower. Outside of that range, yeah, it's not going to be very useful, but that's kind of how all of Driller's weapons work. So let's go over the mods and talk about each of them. First up, in Tier 1, we have either increased magazine or longer reach. Both these are really good. I usually like the larger magazine, but longer reach is really useful too. It can be really good if you're taking it on like an industrial sabotage mission and you want to hit stuff on the ceiling, or if you feel like you want to be burning like MacTerra, then the extra reach is really useful. But usually I'll go with the increased mag size. That way it will serve me pretty well for like a horde of basically anything. Tier 2, you also have really good options. I like going with the extra damage here, so you go from 11 damage per tick up to 15 damage per tick. It's not really necessary to kill little things, because even though 15 damage is a nice breakpoint, it kills swarmers on any difficulty. It doesn't really matter. You'll kill the swarmers super fast with the flamethrower regardless. So it doesn't really matter for that. This is more for just constant sustained damage against larger enemies like Praetorians. But you could go with the increased heat. This lets you light things on fire faster. That's really good against the robots, because if you light the robots on fire, they will instantly die. Or you could go with sticky flame duration and have 3 extra seconds of sticky flame. All of these options are really good. It really depends on how you want to run the flamethrower. This is a very straightforward flamethrower setup of just point it at something and burn it until it's dead. So if you want to get extra value, you could go with sticky flames, or if you want to make it more specialized towards just lighting things on fire, if you're going for a temp shock build, or if you're going for a robot killing build, then flame or extra heat might be good too. In Tier 3, we have increased rate of fire, gets you more DPS, so that's pretty nice. Sticky slowdown, this increases the slowdown effect, which is very nice as well. If you want to get a sticky flame build, you could build something like this or a combination. I'm going with more fuel. It is a very basic upgrade, but it makes it so the flamethrower has even more sustained fire on it. And if you take both these ammo upgrades like I'm taking, you rarely run out of ammo with the flamethrower on basically any mission. You're probably going to be the last teammate to actually need ammunition, besides maybe a gunner who's going all ammo too. But you do have some other good options here. Fear is always nice. Fear is pretty useful. You already have fear though with driller, regardless of what you take, because your drills have fear on them anyway. So if you don't think that that's necessary and the drills are doing enough, then you don't need to take this, but it's not a bad choice. Sticky flame duration, like I said before, is pretty good. You can get more value out of your flames. It can be really good against crowds. And then in Tier 5, we have heat radiance and we have targets explode. Targets explode can be pretty useful. You can get more damage in groups of enemies, but the flamethrower already does really well against groups. Heat radiance lets you burn everything around you, so this counts in a 5-meter radius, I believe, all the way around you. This can be a little bit dangerous though, because you can also light like the explosive mines on the ground or explosive plants if you are standing too close to them. So be careful about that if you are going to be taking heat radiance. But this is kind of a safety measure if you're not paying attention to one particular site, because usually you're just throwing flames out in 180 degrees in front of you. But if anything sneaks behind you, this is kind of an early warning signal that if you hear stuff getting lit on fire and you don't see anything, there's probably stuff behind you, so you can turn around and light them on fire. So that does it for the primary weapon. For secondary, like I said, we're bringing the Subata. Subata does kind of get a rap for being a basic pistol, and it is a basic pistol, but it's still a pretty decent pistol. The way that I'm building this is going with extra reload speed, but any of these in Tier 1 are pretty good. Improved alignment gives you accuracy on the first shot. Subata's already pretty accurate. I don't really need this, but if you want to be pinpoint accurate at very long range, this is an option. Larger mag size is also great. I usually go with the reload speed because it's kind of nice just to not have the downtime of the reload, and I'm not running like Born Ready, even though Born Ready is not necessary with even just the base Subata. Tier 2, we have our options of ammo or damage. Damage, we're only getting 1 point of damage. Ammo, we're getting 40. I just find that to be more useful than going up to 13. 13 doesn't really hit a breakpoint or anything. Next up, we have increased damage once again by 1 point. Kind of already talked about it in the previous tier. Recoil reduction isn't bad. Increased accuracy is kind of nice, but the Subata is already fairly accurate, so unless you just plan on using this to pick off things at a really long distance, I wouldn't really worry about this. so I usually just go with the extra ammo here. 4, we have either weak spot damage, so we get more weak spot damage than we already have. Subata already has 20 on it base. This gets another 60. That is really good, and it will out damage the high velocity rounds if you're hitting things in the weak spot consistently. If you're not, then high velocity rounds will work too, and you do go up to that 15 damage. So if you really wanted to do that and just one-shot swarmers, you can. It's not really necessary with the Subata though, because all of your primary weapons will kill swarmers super easy. And then in tier 5, I'm going to go with volatile bullets. Volatile bullets is still kind of the go-to if you're using the flamethrower. If you're using the other weapons though, you do have a new option with acid-tipped bullets. Acid-tipped bullets gives us 2 more corrosive damage per shot. That is really nice. There's a lot of things that are weak to corrosive, and you can potentially get the kill on the corrosive damage, which melts stuff, so that's kind of cool. But if you're using the flamethrower, realistically, volatile bolts is basically always going to get you more damage, since you do 50% more damage to the enemy, and you have the fire last on them longer. It's usually the better option with the flamethrower. For the pickaxe, I usually go with power attack and better weight balance. Power attack I would highly recommend you getting if you're new to the game. It is really useful, and it will save you a lot of ammo overall. It'll also help extra on Driller because we're going to be running Vampire, which we'll talk about in a second. For satchel charges, usually there's about 2 ways or 3 ways to build satchel charges. Either you build it for damage, for stuns, or for mining. This is a mining setup. If you wanted damage, you could go with a combination of bigger charges or more ammo. If you wanted stun, go with the concussion blast, or even the fear could kind of work with that build too. Just kind of an AoE scare. I usually like the mining because that's usually what I'm using C4 for, just to get whatever materials I can or blow through walls easier. Reinforced drills, I go with everything on the left-hand side. Damage lets you kill things fairly quick with the drills, even though it says you only have 10 damage. This is melee damage, and basically everything in the game is weak to melee, so you're actually doing a bit more than this in practical terms. Beyond that, faster cooling, better digging, and then more ammo. Impact axes as our throwing weapon. This one's really good too. This one also counts as melee damage. You get 8 of them. You can pick them back up. They function well with Vampire, which is really cool. It's probably one of the best, if not the best, grenade in the game. And then for our suit, once again, like the other ones, I would recommend you buy everything with your suit, regardless of how you would like to build it, because you will get extra health every so many levels. And that's just good. You're going to get tankier, so even if you don't plan on using all of this, the extra health is still really nice. Beyond that, we have perks, we have Resupplier, and we have Vampire to get us health back. Vampire's really good with Driller, because we have the pickaxe, we have impact axes, and we have drills to get our health back. You can potentially get a lot of health back, just don't be super greedy with Vampire, because sometimes it won't be worth it to get the little amount of health that you can. Thorns keep little things off us. This isn't really necessary with Driller. Driller's already really good at crowd control, but I just hate little swarmers biting me, so I'll run this. Then we have Beastmaster to get a Steve. I'm playing this in solo. You can pick whatever you want in solo. In multiplayer, I usually take Iron Will with Driller. That way I can res myself once, and it pairs really well with Vampire, because if you res yourself, kill something with a power attack or with your axe or with your drills, you'll get 5 health back, and then you will pick yourself up at the end of Iron Will. Very useful. And then we have Dash to run away from bad situations. This is really good on Driller because we don't have any other mobility besides this, so if we need to run away, we can. Now, let's go on a salvage mission, because I don't usually run Driller for salvages on here. Usually I'm running pipelines. Be sure to check out what the daily beer is too, and if you think it's necessary, or if you just have extra money for the different beers, I'd recommend buying it. Right now we have Skull Crushers. This gets us more pickaxe damage per swing, which can be very useful. Unfortunately, it doesn't count towards our impact axes or our drills, although if it did, that would be way too strong on Driller. Okay. That's right, we're in the fungus bog. So first things first with Driller, always interact by blowing something up. Show that you do not respect anything. Now, if you see random bits of materials though, it wouldn't be a bad idea to potentially blow them up with C4, especially if it's gold. That way you can just get it out of the way faster. You don't have to waste the time mining. Your drills are super useful for getting you basically anywhere. They're probably the best. Well, yeah, they're probably the best mobility tool. Oh yeah, we have Evo nuts. With Driller, you can get through these quick, because your drills and your axes will let you get through them, so that's handy. I didn't actually even realize that they were on this mission. We're going to try to get Nitro first. Even though Driller usually doesn't have ammo issues, it's always better to have Nitro than to not have it. So, and your drills are super useful for just getting through any of the dirt walls. Very nice. Huh, they did actually up the damage resist of these things then. I was thinking that they did, but I wasn't sure. Oh. It used to be that you could hit those with just one impact axe and they would break wide open. Now it takes two, or it takes an extra pickaxe hit. Oh, we got Tritolite. Oh, but it's all in goo. Alright, so fighting with Driller is usually pretty basic. Use your flamethrower to, well, assuming you're using the flamethrower. For this case, we're using the flamethrower. Use your flamethrower to just burn anything within flamethrower reach. Usually be backing away and just kind of swinging this in front of you. Try to put the sticky flames down as well. Even if you haven't built for sticky flames, they can still provide a little bit of extra value. Basically, for big hordes like this, Driller is fantastic. Especially if they're getting slowed down already by sludge. A similar thing couldn't happen to you. And then the pistol is a basic pistol. The starting Driller is probably the most basic starting class out of any of them. With the only things you kind of have to remember are that your C4 is dangerous to you. Try not to blow yourself up with this. And your drills can be used in all sorts of ways. You can use them as melee weapons to just kill whatever enemies are in the way. You can also use them to get basically anywhere you want, even if you need to get up into the ceiling. Like what we're going to try to do here. And I don't know if this is a great idea or not, but really? Okay. Well, if Bosco just wants to kill Betsy, I guess that's fine as well. Take him out, Bosco. I'm going to hide in my little bunker here. Ow. Especially when they got machine guns out there. Ow. Well, that's unfortunate. I wanted to get inside the shield. You can run inside the shield of Betsy and then hit her weak spot, which I unfortunately did not get to do there. Yes, go Bosco, go. Alright, I gotta run away from Betsy here. And I can attempt to assist at a distance. This is bad though. This is not where I want to be. This is really not where I want to be. Okay. Well, Betsy might just destroy us for this run. I landed in like the worst possible spot. Okay. Go away, exploders. We got Betsy killed. We can also use our drills to potentially pop these out of the ground if you want. You find that using the pickaxe is a little bit too slow. The drill does do it a little bit quicker. No. There's nothing here about to impact the zone. Stay down there, bugs. I got part of them. Oh, that's right. I said this earlier, and it's important to reiterate it. Be sure to look out if you're running heat radiance about these little explosives around there, because they can and will go off if you are using the flamethrower around them. They do catch fire, and that will cause them to explode. Wait, did it hit the elf? I think the meteor hit the elf. Is that what's showing up on the... Oh! Bosco, get him. Alright, I'll get him. Alright, well, I didn't even see the elf before this. Well, if we survive this barrage, we should be good to go. Oh, also on salvage missions, be sure to not worry too much about Nitra, because every time that you fix up one of these mini meals, you're guaranteed to get a certain amount of Nitra. I believe it's between 40 and 60 Nitra per mini meal. So yeah, I have 200 right now, and we haven't needed to call in a resupply yet. I am just going to call in the drop bot. I don't really want to scour this place for Evo nuts. Let's call this in. An important thing that you can do a driller here is do some terraforming. You can potentially make yourself bunkers and stuff here, but I usually don't use bunkers that much. Unless it's just at a really convenient spot. But if there's something like this and it's next to a wall, you can potentially cut out the wall a little bit more. Both the, I guess, the ceiling part of the wall and the wall itself. That helps a bit. Helps the team maneuver a little bit. If you have axes, you can actually throw the axes into the ground or nearby wall, wherever it might be. Get a resupply. Make sure, you know, if you have 4 or less, then you don't need to worry about this. But if you have 4 or more, you can do that, and then those axes can be picked up again later. And we'll see what we get. We should be fine unless we get detonators or oppressors. If we get multiple oppressors, it might be an issue. I think if we get 1 oppressor, we'll be fine. Should have enough damage to deal with them quickly. You could also alternatively just C4 this area too. That's a good use of your C4 as well. Because now bugs can't just crawl right down the ceiling easily to us. They kind of have to come in an obvious way, or at least a way that we can easily see. Alright. Axes also basically have a 100% stun chance on them, at least for things like Praetorians. So it's not a bad idea to just chuck them out. And again, they do count as melee, so we can get our health back. Let me grab those. Thanks, Betsy. And we still got space for these axes. Awesome. Whoops. Even though we missed that, it's not a huge deal. We can pick it back up again once this is over. Don't want to leave it right now. It's not worth it. It's always important to get this objective done before any others. And Driller is really good at pushing objectives and just getting objectives done in the first place. Like, your drills let you go basically anywhere and set up basically anything. And your primary weapons are fantastic for crowd control like this. Oh, there was an oppressor here. Oh wait, we can get a Steve. Steve, fight for us. I gotta remember to use that more often. it's just something I don't take on Driller very much. But in solo, Steve can be pretty useful. Oh yeah. As you can see, since we lit something on fire, we're actually doing pretty decent damage to it. Oh yeah, and if you want to clear up these things, sometimes your flamethrower will work for them, sometimes it won't. I don't know what causes them to not work. But sometimes you can just be blowing fire on a Praetorian corpse and it just won't ignite. Alright, let's grab another resupply. You can also burn and kill the mushrooms in this area too. Not just burning the mushrooms, but once they spray out the gas, it becomes flammable. If you bring the flamethrower across it, it will light them all on fire, killing all the mushrooms in the area. That can be useful. You can also throw your axes through them. And your axes will be retrievable again after that. But, yeah, they're not as good as they used to be. Axes used to be better for that. Good boy, Steve. Alright. Now, ordinarily, with this one, you should probably make this a little bit wider. This would actually be a really good spot to make a little bunker if you had an engineer on the team. Unfortunately, we don't have an engineer on the team, so we're not going to make a bunker right here because it's just not super convenient to us. Alright, once again, we'll use our C4 trick. We'll make this a little bit wider for us. Oh, sorry, little loot bug. Alright, sorry, getting little loot bug. It's not you, it's me. Alright. Let's fix this up then. And now we've made this area a bit more open for us, so we can at least see bugs coming over there. You don't want immediate walls right next to you. And same goes with the opposite direction. You don't want just a sheer cliff, because it's really easy for bugs to come up the side of the cliff and hit you before you can even see them. So try to make it as open as possible. Driller, once again, is pretty good at doing that. You can also do it like this too. This is an option. A little bit of a dangerous option, but it is an option. Oh, that's not good. Okay. So throw in your axes when you can. They do really high single target damage. They have a high chance of stunning. And then again, flamethrower for basically anything within flamethrower range. Like I said, Driller is probably the most basic of the starting classes to just kind of get a handle on at least what their weapons do. They do have some interesting tricks, like here's a interesting trick that's not necessary to learn, but It is kind of funny. You can throw out a C4 and then quickly throw an impact axe, and you will catch it with the axe. Alright. Just use the Subata to pick off anything at longer ranges, anything outside of flamethrower range, basically. And then anything inside flamethrower range, use the flamethrower. Or use the Subata, either works. Or use the drills. Drills are also really good for killing. Even more so when things are slowed down by sticky flames, or if they're slowed down by ice, or even by the goo. Depending on which primary weapon you're using. But right now you can still use it to get some extra health. Alright. Now we just gotta survive. Which, I forgot that I got down, because Betsy murdered me earlier twice. So I should probably be kind of careful with this. Let's be on our way. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, Betsy. Feel free to terrorize the planet in my absence. 175 kills, not very many, although it was kind of a shorter mission. Died twice to Betsy. We got the elf, that was from the meteor.